Hey guys, just Jani. Today I wanted to show you how I made this necklace. I don't really know what to call it yet. If you're into steampunk, I would call it a scavenger necklace, and I had these wood beads that I made, some pennies I drilled holes in. These are bullet slices. I'm not sure what size cartridge this was. Anyway, it was a spent cartridge, so I just drilled a hole in the primer and that fits well. And these copper pieces I had laying around, and I just wrapped them on my bender press on the bar like you would a ring. And I was thinking, if you had like a really big bead to showcase, that would look pretty cool. And what I've hung it on are these instant pendants by Beadalon. These are available on my website. They're really sturdy, and the finials come off. You just unscrew it. So what I did on mine was, after I put it together, I put a drop of Loctite. I don't have my bottle here, so I will put a link to that. And this one has a loop for an additional charm on the bottom. So you could leave it blank or add any number of things to it. So what I started with was, I had one of the big spoons or big forks. So take your spoon, fork, whatever you are going to use, mark it at 4 1/4. I'm just going to go ahead and start both of these. That one kind of curls up at the tip. It probably will be a little bit off on the measurement, but I'll see what happens. Okay, I use my mini bolt cutters. Cut just on your line there, or maybe just below your line. You can grind that off. So you can see there is the line is still there. Oh, that was a hard one. And the reason for the length, it has to be this size to fit the instant pendant. So you could obviously make these in a lot of sizes, but you would have to make your own hanger for it. Next, I grind the ends off and hit it with the fiber wheel to make it smooth. I'll do that, and then I'll come back and show you what to do next. Okay, so I ground this off and smooth the end here. Now I'm going to use my bender press. I'm using the bracelet block and the smallest nylon spacer or roller, and we're going to bend it like you would a ring, but it's just going to be bigger. Oops. Chica is helping today. Chica has not been feeling well, and I think she got a little bit of a kitty cold, but I'm not sure how, because that's usually something caused by stress, and this is not a stressed cat. So this nylon roller here is actually 1 1/4 inches, and it's just a little bit too big. You can see they just don't quite, get my hand out of the way, they just don't quite meet in the middle. So I'm going to make sure that I have it very round. I apologize, I forgot to get my hand out of the way of the camera. But I'm sure you know how this works, so. You can see it's not quite there. So I'm just going to take my roller off and leave this pin. I have the biggest pin that comes with it. And here's where you have to be careful. You just need to gently do a little bit at a time to bring your ends together. It's just so you don't warp it. What I was just doing there is, from my point of view, it wasn't lined up this way, so I was just tapping the side over to get it back in line. Let me see what happens if I put it on this biggest one. So again, we don't want to bend it. I just need something to help pull it together just a tiny bit. And stay right up there. That's about got it. That's pretty good actually. And we are still round. So before I move on, I'm going to take my instant pendant and hold it across and make sure that that's going to make it, because the threads end right here, so that has to come out the bottom, and the top is just right there. So I think that that's going to work. So I'll move on, show you what I did next. Okay, next we need to decide where you want your pendant to go through your circle. I just picked this spot because I liked it. It wasn't taking away from the pattern. So you could have this little opening anywhere you like. You just need to hold up your piece, and you can have it more towards the top. This one doesn't have much design. I mean, we could bring it all the way to that opening all the way to the side. Can't quite get it, can I? Okay, so I like this position. I like it having that opening kind of up here. So I'm just going to mark the top side first and then drill it, and then we'll mark the bottom. So I'm thinking kind of in here. I'm kind of looking through this eye. Now this is not going to be anywhere near the center. I'm just kind of marking. Or maybe I'm not marking. Maybe I should just stop trying today. Oh my goodness. Okay. There we go. So I was looking through the eye, trying to make my mark there. It's okay, it's not in the center. I just need to know where to drill my first hole. So I'm going to make sure that's in the center, And I'm going to put this in my vise here on my bench and drill a 1/16 inch hole. And then I will show you how I figure out my next hole after that. Okay, actually before I drill that hole, I forgot a step. So I know I want my hole to be here, but I also need to know about where on the inside, because if I go over to my vise and I put it where I think this is straight up, it may or may not be, because once you close the vise you cannot see it. So I like to just kind of line this up. I don't know if you can't see what I'm looking at here. So I have it, when I look I can kind of see what's in line. This isn't necessarily where we're gonna drill that hole, it's just kind of what I am aiming for. It just gives me a guideline. I'll show you how I check it before I drill that one. Okay, I drilled my first hole. So next I take the finial off and I'm going to put it in that end that I did and make sure, you can see here I did line it up in the right spot. So I can go ahead and use the mark I made, or if I wanted I could, I was gonna say I could change it, but I think that's exactly what I want right there. So I'm going to transfer my mark to the other side because I'm going to put it in my vise and drill that side. So what I do is make sure it's where I want it on this side, and then just kind of line it all up. So might try not to let it move, maybe hold it with, there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to put the tip of my pen and mark that. If I can find a pen that works. Okay, one more time. Line that up. Oops, looks about right. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, don't worry about it not being in the center, because just like last time, when you put it in your vise, you're going to look at your mark, you're going to line it up with that hole, and when you have it in your vise, you can take your center punch and you can mark what looks to be the center of this space. So let's drill that, and then I will show you what we need to do next. Okay, we've drilled both holes. Next, put your pendant through, or should I say pendant holder. Oh, I might have a burr. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so you can see it just makes it, it's pretty snug. Let me double check. I'm not sure I quite have enough. Yeah, see, it's not catching. What I did was I have a center drill bit. This one is actually a 5/64 by 3/16. It's a little big, but for what I'm doing it's fine. I'm going to put this in my drill press, and I just do a little bit. It will open this hole a little bit bigger, but it looks a lot like a countersink bit does, how it kind of makes the opening at an angle so that your screw will fit flush. It does the same idea. So I use that and just take a little bit out of there, and it just gives your instant pendant a tiny bit more room. So let me go do that, and then we'll check the fit again. Okay, so I went over to my drill press and used my center bit, and I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but it did give it a little bit of a slope to the side. So I want to check my fit again before I am done. And can you see here, it gave you just a little bit more room. So there we go. Now I run my flatware through the tumbler, and then when it's done, it's all ready to be loaded up with whatever it is you want on your pendant. If you want to go steampunk, beads, use your imagination, and send me a pic in the comments. I'd like to see what you've done with yours. Thanks for making this with me. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Is because it has to be this size to fit this, what's it called? That's Chica. Oh, why, thank you. Okay, let's move. Come on, go sit on the other side. So I'm going to be using my bender press with the bracelet block and the smallest nylon spacer. Oh Lord, but I'm gonna be stressed when she's done. You need to stop. I'm not feeling that sorry for you now. Stay over there. Cell phone goes off one more time. Oh my God, are you serious? You're gonna use the litter box right now? Girl, and I just forgot what it's called.